Are you tired of your mom wishing you were a Fury Warrior? Are you tired of your wife eyeing that Fury Warrior? Boys, my name's Slipback. I'm a former 3K Paladin. I'm gonna help you pump that pink with my M Plus guide to Retribution. Greetings, gamers, and welcome to my masterclass for Retribution Paladin. We're gonna be focusing on Templar at this particular section, and we're gonna break down the talents 1v1 and explain to you within quick succession why it's important to take everything for what it is. So, lay on hands is our emergency heal. Obviously, you have to take this. You have to take this. Cleanse Toxins is a 100%. You need this. It allows you to clutch heal and clutch stuff off of people that can basically make you like a secondary dispeller. Imperium Ward is interesting. So Imperium Ward gives you 30% increased armor for 8 seconds, and now he ignores healing reductions. So this can be very good clutch healing a tank when he is doing massive pulls. That's 30% armor for 8 seconds. That's an entire hero, basically like an entire hero rotation. So you can just throw this on the tank, and it's a solid armor, and it gives them heal. This is amazing. Fist of Justice, you want to take this because it turns our stun into 30 seconds. We're taking Blinding Light because it allows us to remove cast off of guys that are channels, that disorients people and everything like that. That can really help save a group. Healing Hands is better because this allows you to mega heal everybody, and Word of Glory also heals very well based on missing health, which in our crit build, this can full heal somebody. Uh, Cavalier because ponies are fast. So they have a new one, Steed of Liberty. You can take this, but the problem with this is that yes, in a series it makes you really fast. But Blessing of Freedom, in my opinion, is better because, and I'll explain to you in a minute why this is better. So this is really good in PvP. This is really good for when you need to remove movement effects off people. This can save people's lives. It gives people the ability to kite. It gives people the ability to do stuff. And later on the tree, we'll explain later. We're taking Audacity. 2% speed is very well good, and 2% area effects is good. That's amazing. Divine Toll, obviously. Now, Unbound Freedom is what I'm talking about from earlier. Unbound Freedom gives you the ability to just throw a freedom on somebody and you give yourself a freedom. And some cases in some dungeons, like with say AK for an example, like this could be amazing for helping your tank fight, gets them out of sticky situations. It allows people to move if or like in Grim Patrol where a dude's like on the other side of the map, he's got no movement, and he has to move on the first boss where you have to get into the right area. This allows you to boost speed somebody that is a slow class that might not have the ability to do it, which can make and break your key. So sacrifice is really good, and blessing of protection, obviously. So with Sanctum Strength, this is cool, but the problem with this is that this allows you to get massive damage. Like 2% more damage is not bad. But this allows your class to flow. And Divine Purpose is what we're going to take because it gives you flow. And sometimes this has been very handy in cleaning up some keys. So now we're going down to the new talents. So we're going to take Lead the Charge. And the reason why we're taking Lead the Charge is because it gives you 5% speed. And now your paladin is starting to become extra fast, which I have found, unless your reaction time is god tier, this extra speed can help you get out of mechanics, which increases our survivability by a significant amount. Bless Calling. We're going to take this because all your blessings increase movement speed by 15%. And it basically makes Blessing of Freedom an ungod. It makes you like gives pony to somebody basically for how much movement speed it does. Inspired Guard, we're going to be taking this because this allows us to get more healing during massive pulls. And you're going to be pumping defensives in massive pulls since everything you have is a 1 minute cooldown. So like you have like Shield of Vengeance and or you know Divine Protection. Divine Protection allows you to get healing increase, which in hero pools or something like that, that gives the healer 15% more healing on you and yourself doing that, and this just keeps your survivability through the roof. Seal of Might, because Mastery and Strength. So Vengeful, we're going to be taking Vengeful Wrath. Thank God we can finally take this and take this at the same time. It's amazing. So the last three talents, I want to explain a reason why we're taking them over everything else on this tree. There are other things you can take, like you can take this, or you can take like this and this, but we're focusing on our own survivability. We clutch heal when it matters. Our job is not to heal. Our job is to just kind of pad heal through like very massive damage. Like, somebody's going to get clapped. Maybe he needs a little bit extra health or he's not topped off. Like, you just want to top him off. That's what you're focused on. Dust Till Dawn gives us damage, gives us DR. That's 4%. That's massive. We just take less damage. Light Bearer. Light Bearer is new. And this is interesting because this allows you to heal 4 other allies of 10% of the healing done from you from other sources. So the healer gets 10, he basically gets almost 2%, 2% more healing on everybody else that is around you. And this allows the healer and you to just have more passive healing, which is, in my opinion, pretty cool. It's just more passive stuff. And with the last talent for the Paladin tree, we're going to be taking Light's Revocation. This allows you to heal up to 10% of basically any disease or active effect, harmful effects on you. And it basically heals like 30% of your life. But the reason why this is important is because it allows you to have Divine Shield when you want it. So you can bop yourself, you can lay on hands yourself, and if you need more, and sometimes you will need more, you're going to want to take this particular talent. Breaking down Templar itself, we're going to be taking Zealous Vindication. It just gives you more hammers, and it's better in a sense. This does more single target damage or dual cleave, which is fine. Does more damage, but this allows you to flow the dungeon better. And flowing the dungeon better is a lot better in higher keys when it comes down to like performance when you're using Light's Hammer. And I'll explain to you in a second when we get over to this tree. We're also going to be taking Design Steed. It lasts longer and your pony is faster, which is good. We want that. More speed, more better. Sanctification, it allows your hammers to hit like a truck. And you can get to like 9 stacks of this for a brief second and maintain 7 to 5 all the time when you're in massive cooldowns, which is huge. So going over to the Paladin tree and explaining everything, why we're taking everything over other stuff. So when you're in the Paladin tree, all right, we're gonna just do the basic stuff. We're gonna take Swift Justice. We're taking everything. Reason why, because stuff. We're gonna take Swift Justice. Swift Justice gives us cooldown reduction for Judgment, which is one of our major spenders that we're gonna be using. Spenders are generators. Expurgation, because bleed is better. We don't take this because the damage just isn't there. You don't really need 10% more judgment damage. It might sound cool, but judgment is not one of our major spenders or damage dealers. And this is more of like a PvP talent. So we're going to take Improved Blade of Justice over Holy Blade because this allows our class to flow better and it gives us more damage. Sometimes if you're playing it right or you get the flow right, having something to cast is better than not having anything to cast. And the way this actually works is that the damage carries over. The damage carries over, or not all the damage. Some of the damage carries over when you're using expurgation. So when you're like, let's explain it. I'm gonna explain it. So here's like some dudes right here, right? And you hit all of them with like with your burn, right? So it does, let's say 90k, right? And now you have like 50k left of the potential damage. You're basically going to add on 40k to your 90 initial. So now that damage over time's potential is now to like 130k. This is just kind of raw numbers. It's not exactly like this, but this is how the functionality works since they changed it. So that's why we're going to be taking that particular talent over everything else. So going back to the talents, we're going to be taking Justification, Tempest of Lightbringer, because just more Divine Storms. Now, this is the juicy one. My bad. This is the juicy one. We're going to be taking Avenging Wrath. We're not going to be taking Crusade. And a lot of people are going to be like, oh, you know, Crusade's OP. Mathematically, this is the better choice, but the margin of error for this like is extremely high. And the issue with this is it doesn't flow as well as this. I'm telling you right now, using Templar, Avenging Wrath is better. I'm going back to saying, so we're going to be taking Divine Tempest. We're going to be taking Avenging Wrath. And Avenging Wrath for this particular build is what we're going to be using to maximize our healing and our damage support going into the key. We're going to need attack speed, it's important for resets. And basically for everything else, the only real juicy talent is we're going to take Heart of the Crusader. And you can, in theory, like drop this, you can grab this, you can grab this. It's good for like single target stuff, but in a key, you want consistency. And Heart of the Crusader, it's just consistently more damage on everything you're doing. And since there is, oh my god, so the Heart of the Crusader, what you want, you're taking this because you want more consistent damage. This consistently just performs very well all the time. It's very passive. You don't have to think about like mid-maxing this or mid-maxing that or like using this in cleave. It just does good damage. And our final big talent we're going to be taking is Final Reckoning. Final Reckoning is 100% the most disgusting ability you have in your arsenal. And the reason why this is so good versus using with this is Crusade, you have to ramp, and without having a free divine purpose, you're wasting holy power to get like 10% more damage. Where this just gives you damage and everything like that. So and we're taking Imperium Power because it gives us the ability to spam Divine Storms. Alright guys, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to break down the Templar's AoE rotation. So when you're pulling up to a pack, you want to throw your Judgment into Blade of Justice, Trinket, Wake of Ashes, Final Reckoning, into Hammer, Divine Toll, and then you want to pop a Bleed, and you want to focus on trying to put as many Divine Toll, Divine Storms into a rotation as possible, while maintaining, just maximizing your Judgment. You want to make sure that Judgment is always being used to make sure that you're maximizing High Lord's Judgment, which is our mastery. And you put your Blade of Justice as a filler. And when you get your hammer, you just boom. I mean, this is just a quick understanding how to use the AoE rotation. The reason why we're going to be using light hammers with the crit is because light hammer gets 50 stacks and it gets a free hammer. So that's free hammer, and everybody likes free stuff. So with a free light hammer, this allows us to get really good flow with Final Reckoning. And when you're playing dungeons, you'll start noticing that like you're getting dual hammers and Final Reckonings, which just, dude, you pump a shit ton of damage. So that's the base AoE understanding of that. So for the single target, your priority is judgment into just getting your burnout, judgment, and hammer, basically same rotation, but your priority is going to be getting as many hammer rafts as possible in without burning your holy power and using your free proc. So hammer wrath is your priority until you need to maintain your burn. Right when it's about to fall off, you just go ahead and just keep pumping them damage. And you just repeat yourself doing that. That's basically how it is. Just make sure when you're popping hammer, when you're using Wake of Ashes, make sure you have 2 holy power. It's very important that you do that. So going on to the next section. So I explained to you the opener. So just remember that when you're pulling, you're gonna wait. This is the aggro range, and your tank dude is going to want to like aggro everybody in this stuff. And normally he goes in and he will circle them all up, and then they all get grouped together. And then that's when you want to hit him with your opener. Is when you know you're not going to pull aggro off this tank. You have the ability, if the tank's not doing stuff or just, you know, in higher keys, like you can, if this is your aggro range and you have somebody like over here and your tank over here is doing tank stuff and he has all of them except for this guy, but then you hit him with hammer, that equals you dead. And we don't want that. We don't want you to be dead. We want you to be #1 Ret Paladin in world. Okay. You want to be the Paladin that everybody wants you to be. So when you're doing your opener, just when he's gripping them up, just be mindful. Oh my god. So just be mindful. So just be mindful that you are just patient enough to do damage and let him aggro the stuff and before you really start bursting. So now with Templar out of the way, we're going to go ahead and break down how to play Herald of the Sun. So Herald of the Sun, we're going to bring the exact same talents. Nothing changes over here. Just leave it. For Herald, you want to be bringing Gleaming Rays. I forgot to put it on there because I'm stupid. So on the Paladin tree, nothing changes on the Paladin tree at all. For Herald, this is the talents we're going to run. Gleaming Rays. We're going to pick up Will of the Dawn. It gives us more speed, which is phenomenally amazing. And we're going to be picking up Blessing of Ashar. Just does single target damage. It's cool. It's fun. You grab it. You do a lot of damage. So for the Paladin tree, the major changes is we're just going to take out Heart of the Crusader. And we're going to put it in Burning Crusade and Searing Light. Since we're doing significantly more radiant damage, this stuff makes a lot more sense. You know, you're getting more value of your Consecrate and your Divine Storms. You're going to get a lot more value out of Searing Light. This can do some good damage, depending on how much, like, High Lord Judgment you have. And we're going to be taking Crusade, because it's designed to be taking Crusade. And the next major change is Executioner Sentence over this. Like I said, this is really good for bursting builds, like using crit. Executioner Sentence gives us that single target that allows us to do really good boss damage. Since we do consistent amount of good damage, this is a very good particular build to bring. And it's every 30 seconds, lines up with your cooldowns, and you're gonna get more maximum benefit using Executioner Sentence versus everything else. Now, the rotation for Herald of the Sun is very simple. You go in, you throw your Judgment, and then you hit your Executioner Sentence, and you light up everything. And you get all your full rotation, everything, Divine Toll, into just min-maxing all your stuff. And you want to fit in as many Divine Storms as possible while keeping Judgment on cooldown. And that's basically Herald. There's nothing different about it. It's just, this is a more consistent type of build. It's fun to play. It absolutely slaps. It's fun. And it's just consistent. And consistency is good. And when you're playing Herald, make sure you line up your lasers and just get in a habit of lining up your lasers and just trying to stay behind your target as much as possible on pools that matter. Some pools you got to stay in particular spots, which is fine. There's going to be more into it in the future. But this is basically Herald's rundown. There's nothing crazier about that than just staying consistent with the build. This is just all about consistency, and you just light them up, and you just keep going. Divine Toll at max crusade, it keeps you going, and you just fit in as much as you can and throw in some Blade of Justice every once in a while and keep Judgment on cooldown. And that's it. That's Herald. It's super simple. Um, that's how you play Herald. Anything different from that, you don't need to really worry about it. So the next thing on the list is we're going to break down how to off heal as a paladin. And this is going to make you the guy who does the paladin stuff and the guy who is the dog shit paladin. And nobody wants the dog shit paladin. So this is how you're going to off heal. So we're going to bring up paint, which is my favorite tool in the world. So to off heal as a paladin, you're going to be focusing on trying to manage health bars while doing maximum damage. And this can be tricky. So it really comes down to your UI. So on my UI, all my health bars are on to the left. I can kind of casually look at it, all the stuff. They have their symbols, like the shield is the tank, and then like the sword is the dude, and the health is the healer, stuff like that. So you want to identify who is what on your UI. And when you're off healing, you want to be able to see what everybody is at. So on big pools that allow you to big pools that are, if you play enough you'll know, on big pools that are very dangerous, you want to be focusing on just kind of glancing out the health bars. There are times where damage is so wild that like half the team is like this. The tank normally has a defensive, so don't really worry about him. The healer is more about using like lay on hands, because if the healer is about to die, a quick lay on hands can keep him buffed, so he can focus on healing other people and not you, and not everybody else. So to explain how to really just what your focus on, our major heals are Word of Glory and hands. That's it. This is what you're going to focus on. So your Word of Glories is really good on what I would can say, not necessarily bursting damage, but like I would call staircase damage. Or steps or yeah, like stepping damage, where it goes like boom, 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 then you're dead. So on particular healing like that, where you have ticking damage in a staircase type of formation, when people are really low, one Word of Glory on, let's just say like this guy and this guy, can prevent them from dying through this tick damage. Your job is not to heal them to full. You want to be able to heal enough so the healer has time to catch everybody up. This is particularly important on big keys that have this type of stuff like Grim Patrol, Arak, Stone Vault, stuff like that. So you can focus on doing damage, but one Word of Glory is enough to keep someone from being dead. Like one Word of Glory can prevent one tick damage, and that can prevent him from taking this, healing this one, and then he has this much health left. And it's so important that you keep in mind how much damage people are taking, but don't sacrifice your own life don't sacrifice your own life trying to do that. It gets to a point where when you do this stuff like that, you're gonna fuck up your own self more than help other people, and that's not how you paladin. So just for the clip recap, Word of Glory is really good for ticking damage, and also yourself. Like you could use Word of Glory as like on yourself as one tick defensive. Use Word of Glory on yourself as like a one tick defensive. Now I'm recording this, my throat is so dry. You can use Word of Glory as a one tick defensive to allow you to take, you can survive taking damage. Now, when you want to focus on is understanding how the damage comes out when you're doing the keys and you understanding what breaks down the damage for the keys. And when you're really focusing on um just trying to keep your group alive, just remember that your Word of Glory, your off healing is actually insane, and you can off heal and still do decent damage. Just try to make sure that like you're healing people when their health bars are like this low. You don't need to overstep yourself. Using hands, it is designed to be healed one guy. It's a one emergency heal you have. So just remember, you want to be using this on someone that is going to die. You know he's going to die. The healer, you know the healer is struggling. You want to lay on hands yourself, or you're going to want to lay on hands the healer, or one guy you know who's about to just get completely clapped. Just go ahead, throw a hands on him. It doesn't matter if the healer's going to catch him up. It's better to remove the risk and brick your key than him dying, and then now you're just like, oh, I should lay on hands him. So the next thing we're going to talk about is a quick brief of our defenses and when to use them and how to use them. We have our glorious Divine Shield, or we'll call it DS, Divine Shield. We have Shield of Vengeance, and we have the Divine Protection. So you want to be using in our talent tree. A lot of people like to just be lazy. When we go in our talent tree, we want to focus on grabbing Shield of Vengeance. Now, we don't want Aegis of Protection, even though this is cool. We don't want Aegis, and the reason why we don't want Aegis is it. I haven't found a purpose of getting 3K where this is useful. It's better to have more buttons to defend yourself, and you can always combine them, which is if you need to, for some reason, you can always combine them, which gives you significantly more protection. And just make sure you understand we're taking Divine Shield. So going back to our drawing board, I mean Shield of Vengeance. So Shield of Vengeance is our first level defense. Okay. It's our level 1 defense. You're just gonna use this basically on cooldown when there's potential damage coming up. So like something that's gonna hit you, or like web bolts or something like that, or something stupid, or just like just some basic damage going out. You just want to use this generally as much as you can. This is just free damage. So divine purpose, divine protection is our level 2 heal. Our level 2. This is when you use it on big defensives. You want it on something like big hero pools. You want to use this on things like DBM are telling you to grab like a defensive, or like, hey, laser on you or something like that, and like big crushing moves are coming out. This is when you want to use this. You can also use the level 1 as well, but I mean this is probably on cooldown. You already use this. This is what we're going to use second based on just kind of like the priority. So Divine Shield is our oh shit button. Divine Shield is what we use to pull off battle reses. Because if the tank dies, everybody's just going to die. So what you want to focus on using like the battle res trick is you just want to you go in and you pop your let me clear this out real quick so I can explain it a little bit better. So when you are using Divine Shield, so this is you, right? And your tank buddy, he just dies, you know. So what you want to use is immediately get in the habit of Divine Shielding yourself, okay? Taunting the biggest dude in the room while in shield, right? This is kind of like a macro heavy, so he comes and attacks you, and battle resing your tank to get him back up. That way you're immune to damage, and you aggro the biggest threat, which helps your friends or a boss or something like that that will protect your friends from dying. This is kind of tricky to do, but once you do that, you just freedom yourself and get the fuck out of the way, and that's what you do. This explaining that's just explaining just kind of like the battle rush trick. It's a little thing, but it's just get in the habit of just divine shielding yourself, giving a battle res, and just stuff like that. And so divine shield is really used for um you're gonna just die. You're just gonna this prevents you from dying, right? It's a death prevention. It allows you to do mechanics that other people aren't doing. So you're gonna be able to do more mechanics, or like grabbing buffs or saving people or running stuff out or just ignoring mechanics. This allows you to just get out of things. So like get out of things. And then the next thing Divine Shield for is just kind of like fuck ups. Like if you mess up, you know, just shield yourself. You know, just get out of it. It's 3 minutes. So that's basically the rundown of the defensive. It's like a quick rundown of how to do it. So, and then we're gonna go on to the next section. So we're gonna go ahead and break down our last three, which is blessing of sack, freedom, and bop, which is blessing of protection. These particular skills are 100% amazing. So blessing of sack is a dangerous skill you can use that can particularly save people's lives. So speaking earlier about the word of glories, the reason sack is going to be used on people who don't have defensives left. And normally you always have a defense or an ability to heal yourself through things, so this is important for you to use. Sack is going to be used on people who don't have defensives left, or you noticing through the key that they don't have the survivability, or they're getting close to one-shotted every time and maybe they burn their own defensive. So you want to be using it on people who are going to basically die. Just pay attention to how much health people are taking versus skills and stuff. Lower keys probably not like they probably not gonna need this too much, but like this is more of like higher keys, like tens and above. Sack, you're gonna be using it on people who are basically going to die. Um, with like a strategy you could use is like my brother. He's a marksman. He doesn't he plays a marksman hunter. Yeah, he has some defensives, but he doesn't have that many to just cycle through a lot of damage. So like he will go up and be like he burned through all his stuff. And like the very last pull of like say a slam and he's low and on like Siege of Borealis he's low, it's physical damage or just whatever. If you're already gonna pop a defensive and you're gonna do a defensive, you can just blood sack him or blessing sack that guy and he just gets a free 20% DR. Uh, and you're already in the defensive, so you can just take this damage and you just pop yourself a word of glory on yourself, and boom, you survive it. He survives it. It's 100% amazing stuff. Um, Blessing of Freedom. It's really about knowing when to use this. So like Blessing of Freedom, it comes down to uh, when people need to get out of the way or people are stuck in things that require like can freedom out. Like in the final boss of Alakara, um, you know, them in the pool, everything. Let's say he's like a warrior or something, and he has to use his kick or something to get out of it. What you could do just for the convenience of helping other people is if you know they're kiting or they need like they're getting slowed. There are some things in the game in the dungeon that slow people and do damage. If people are just getting slowed and you know they're not getting dispelled, just throw a freedom on them. It gives you freedom. It gives them like 30% speed, and that allows them to like reposition, and it allows them to like move in, reposition in a better position, reposition in a better spot so they can do more damage, and just kind of basic stuff like that. And Bop, so the only time you're going to use Bop is when you know it's physical damage and you know someone's going to die or you want to cheese a mechanic. So, like, let's look at Stitch Flesh for an example from Necrotic Wake. So, Stitch, he has that Fixate ability. If you just want to be a total Chad Paladin, you're just going to bop yourself or bop the Fixate guy, right? He's going to move for like, you're going to freedom him. Okay, give him that Gucci Gang Olympic speed, and then right when you give him a chance to move just a little bit, you're gonna give him the bop while he has the speed buff, and he's just gonna run the fixate guy in the middle. Like I'm gonna give an example of this that's kind of cool. So you're gonna go in and you're just going to here's stick flash, here's the fixate, here's your dude. Um, Your dude is going to like run away this way very fast, and then what you're gonna do is you're gonna give him the good old blessing of freedom. He's gonna run. He's gonna run like Sonic, super fast, and then that allows the fixate guy to go this way. And then you're gonna turn around and give him a bop, which allows him to just sit there and just be able to eat the fixate. So his friend over here goes up here and they're together, which allows them to get massively cleaved. And that's a thought process of using Bop. It's nothing crazier than that. It's really just kind of like, can you use it to cheese mechanics? You got to know more about the dungeons. Got to know really about the dungeons to really maximize Bop. I don't really use it that much. I use it on certain things like people getting autoed, or it gets people out of impairing effects that are bad, that hurt you, or bleeds. It removes all bleeds, which is cool. So, um, and another just example of Bop is we're gonna be using Bop on anything that is like auto attacks. So like the fixate is like an auto attack. The auto attack is what initiates all that damage. So on the first boss of Necrotic Wake, you have a big scary dude who does scary things and vomits on people. You know, and he summons these bug lords that want to touch your toes, and they kill you instantly. So when he does that, and you have your little dude who's fixated on, you want to just when they're coming towards his toes, and they wanna get his toes pics and put it on OnlyFans. You're just gonna bop him and give him freedom. And this dude is he gets out of the way, and he doesn't get slowed. He's doing good, and allows him to, or he's like melee, gets him in a better position, and from there it just makes the key better because that bop will, like, if it's like an emergency bop or it's a bad position, that one bop that you do on your guy can prevent the maggots from completely killing him. Another thing on bop you can do is bop is really good, and a lot of people don't really think about this. Bop is a de-aggroer. So like if you see somebody pull aggro on somebody, right? Pull aggro off of the tank. So like let's just say this piece of shit warlock over here. Okay. Let's say our good old friend Gul'dan the warlock. Okay. He does he does magic stuff, and when he does his magic stuff, he pulls an angry person, an angry mob guy who wants to kill him, right? And he goes over here and he's away from the pack of his friends that are behind him. You can just bop this guy, and this immediately pulls all the threat off of this guy, and this guy will now, like, he would just go away, and instead of being like over here, he's back over with his friends, getting murdered by your whole group, which is what we want. By your tank doing tank stuff. Over here with this little shield, he's cute. He does some stuff. He's aggroing everything, and this guy will go over here with it, and then everybody just kills him. So that is basically the rundown of just kind of a simple way of ideas of playing Ret Paladin on a pretty macro level. I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. I really wanted to do a video with paint because it's a lot easier to explain things to people, in my opinion, when you can just like draw it. Big angry dude. He's pretty pissed off and everything. So all I have to say, guys, is thanks for watching, and I really hope I see you guys in the next one. All right, catch you guys then.